But we have programs like profit and loss. So in that case, there's going to be a profit and loss that the borrower provides, and it's prepared by their accountant. And we can use that profit and loss for the last 12 months as income for the borrower. So they're not providing tax returns. They're not providing bank statements. They're just providing the profit and loss. And then bank statements would actually be provided only for down payment.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. Returning guest Brent Graney joins us today out of South Florida and has over 23 years of experience in mortgage financing. He helps buyers and investors structure deals, secure financing, and actually get loans closed. Today, he focuses on improving operations and making the process much faster and more consistent without losing the personal touch. He's worked through multiple market cycles and understands what it takes to get deals done while still building real relationships with clients. Brent, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Dylan. I really appreciate it.
Now, with everything moving towards automations and people sometimes feeling like they have to be both quick, but also without losing the personal touch, where do you see things moving to, and how are you incorporating these in your business?
So there's a huge movement when it comes to automations. And I think that some mortgage companies have gone a little bit too far on that and lost the personal touch. So we're focusing on keeping the personal touch, having those conversations of what's important to our clients, but also having the automations in place to help move the process along faster. So we're trying to close purchase loans in 2 weeks or less. And we want to at least have our process done, and we're waiting on other parties at that point. And that's all because of the automations that we've been implementing.
Now, I think for everyone listening, they're thinking, well, if I'm thinking about getting a loan for a single family property, the process is always a drawn out process and it takes, at minimum 30 days. How can you simplify the process down to 2 weeks?
So part of it is the partners that we have in place when it comes to title exam. For example, the title companies that we use, they're very fast at getting us the title work that we need in 24 to 48 hours. And that way, if there's any issues on title that need to be cleared, they have time to clear them, and they're very fast at clearing them. In the past, that's been one part of the process that will slow us down. So we've gotten that taken care of, and we actually have ways of communicating with them, automations actually that are in place, that when a file is started in our system, the title work is automatically ordered to, letting them know that we have a new file and it's ordered the same day, and they can already start working on that. And that really helps shorten the process. Same thing with getting the property valuation. We have some different products that don't require appraisal any longer. So we're able to use those valuations that are done within the same day that we receive the application and or the actual contract. So we get a purchase contract in, and it triggers our system to say, okay, we need title. We need to get a valuation on it. Do we actually need an appraisal? And if we did an appraisal, we ordered it right away. So that way, that's already those are two of the main things that will slow down the process. But the automations come in where the experience between the borrower and the lender with us saying, okay, we need XYZ for documentation. And then you provide documentation.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
But the system is now looking at the documents along with someone overlooking. It's going to be an underwriter, it's going to be a processor, but it's going to get back to you very quickly as a borrower saying, thank you for sending these documents over. But based on what you sent, we're going to need these other 2 or 3 documents. And we try to just move very quickly on the documentation that we know the underwriter will need. And those
Now,
automations of following up and getting back to the borrower have been shortened quite a bit.
I'd like to, and I don't know how much we can get into this, but I'd like to ask you about, for investors, the loan products that make sense, because on a 2-week timeline, that's competitive with anything that investors will find really anywhere. So, what products are you able to offer investors currently?
So that's a great question because we're big on investors. Right now, we're doing probably about 45% investment business out of the loans that we originate right now. It's about 45%. It's never been this high. So we're doing debt. We have a debt service coverage ratio program, which looks at the property. So instead of the individual qualifying, the property is qualifying. So the mortgage payment needs to be less than or equal to what that property rents for. And what we're doing is teaming up and partnering with the best lenders in that field because there are a lot. And we've narrowed it down to the top 3 that we work with. And one of them is a very new lender, meaning there's a lot of experience behind them, the people that open the company, but they're big on the automations and the speed. So we fit together very well. We mesh together in a way that we benefit the investor. So we can get all those items, the title, appraisal, and assets reviewed, everything very quickly on a DSCR loan, for example, and still close them in 2 weeks but we're making sure up front, the first 3 days are extremely critical. When in the past, traditionally with lending, you're like, okay, you get the contract in, and then maybe the appraisal's ordered a week later, and title is the same thing. It's just a slower process that we have 30 days. Now we don't look at it as we have 30 days. Even if the contract says 30 days or 45, we still try to hit that 2-week mark on every file.
Now, in DSCR specifically, can rehab be included in that loan? Or is this something that you would only use if the property is already, a rental grade or in a flip condition?
So we actually do have partners that we are working with that we do rehab for fix and flip, and rehab for long term. We have both products. Now, one of those lenders will also use DSCR, which is rare in this industry. The other one is a full documentation where you are showing the income. They
Yeah.
they do up to 90% financing, so you put 10% down, and then when it comes to the disbursements that are made, let's say that the property needs a new roof. The roof is 15,000. The roof is done, and it can either be paid by the borrower to the contractor, or if the contractor is allowing 30 days on an invoice, it can be invoiced and they'll be reimbursed, and it gets added to the loan amount that they have on the 90% financing. And all in all, let's say that they have 50,000 added. They bought the property for 100,000. They got a loan for 90,000 to buy the property, and now they had 50,000 on top of that for things that need to be repaired, and we added to the loan. So now they owe 140,000, and then we also have a ratio of what the prop we look at what the property is going to be worth after it's repaired.
Right.
So an after repair value, and then we lend 75% of that. So that we have that program in place, so we're able to help people that are looking to do rehabs for either long term or fix and flip.
This is a really, I would say, niche and relatively rare product to be offering, especially since you're also, helping people looking for their homestead, right? And I'm almost, grasping at straws to even think about the possibilities here, because most of the time that I've seen.
If you're looking for consistent, high quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Lenders are either working strictly, hard money, working with investors, and that's it, or they're strictly working with people looking for their forever home, their homestead. But you're doing both. Do you see this as a trend which more lenders will start to get involved with, or is this something that is very specific to what you have going on?
It's really a niche because what's happening is over time we're always trying to partner with new investors out there. We're always looking for new programs, and we find more often that those programs, once we do find them and we partner with them, that we're offering something that is very hard to find.
Yeah.
And a fix and flip is a great example because I get a lot of emails from different investors that are looking to partner with brokers such as myself, and we I see less of those. I see less and less of those investors out there. And so I look at it like we're able to offer something that's not out there and not prevalent and not easy to find. We can do over 4 unit, which becomes commercial as well.
Yeah.
We do that, and we really try to work with any borrower with any situation. Mixed use. I'm working on a mixed use right now in Central Florida, so it can be a property that looks like a house, but it's a beauty salon. you
Hmm.
know and and there's many different, we try to look for every product, and I think that we have a pretty good arsenal under our belt right now where we're able to help a lot of different types of investors and borrowers looking to buy either a primary or an investment property. The investment side is even a wider spectrum of programs compared to even last year. We have many more programs now available, even for cash flow. Could be we have no income verification HELOC loans, so they get a line of credit on an investment property, maybe to put money into that property and do a rehab on it after they already own it, or to buy another property. So we're looking at a cash flow because investors traditionally don't come to us and say, "Here's our tax returns. We're showing a ton of income on the tax returns for lending purposes, and we want this. We want to go ahead and invest
Oh,
on another
the
property."
opposite. Here's no
It's the
income.
opposite,
Yeah.
right? So we can get them the cash that they need either for fixing up the home, doing renovations, or to buy another property. And investors really like that, to be able
This
to do
is
that.
this is where I go with it when I hear of what you're doing. You know, so many people would like to get into real estate investing, but it's a process because even if you buy your first home, that on some level that makes you an investor, but you're not renting that property out. So then when you go to just even start to think about, okay, well, how am I going to get this second mortgage? What's this going to look like? Who do I go to? You oftentimes have to make a whole new network, a whole new sphere of people. And I'm imagining you have people who may have gotten their homestead and now they're coming to you saying, well, hey, do you work with investors? How would I go about this process? And then from there, you can explain, HELOCs and HE loans and cash out refi and so forth.
Correct. Yes, we actually have a lot of borrowers that they buy their first home with us, and then they buy an investment property down the road, or they buy another primary, and their property that they had becomes investment. But I like to take the time to explain to each individual, whether they're buying their first home or they're buying their third property. I explain to them what's actually available because they're not sure of the resources, and they've heard a lot of different myths about
Right.
down payments and things like that that are tied in with buying an investment property. And the investors that are actually funding these loans and the different companies are getting more aggressive on the investor side, because they see the need for that product. And Fannie Mae, which is conventional loans, they've actually started to limit how much banks can write on investment property loans. So they're cutting back on the conventional side, and then the non-QM side, which is just it's more open. It's a non-qualified mortgage, DSCR. So that's opening up to where now there's more opportunity and people just aren't aware of the products that are out there. And
Yeah.
I look for products all the time. And we've been able to partner. We're partnered right now with 37 different lenders.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
And 31 actually have investment products. So we're very heavy on the investor side on helping people buy that first investment property after they bought their primary. Now, we also have a lender that will allow a first-time investor to buy with the DSCR program without a housing history. And that's rare in this industry
Yeah, that
because
sure
most
is.
of them want some type of housing history for 12 months. We can do it with no housing history, and it's truly a DSCR program, and we're able to do that now as well, and that's something new that we have.
Now, for folks who are in their first couple years in business, working for themselves, and they're, getting their bookkeeping set up and they're looking at getting into real estate investing, they may come to you in all different kinds of conditions from, lots of, great books to maybe not the best bookkeeping to, having filed their taxes to not having filed their taxes to having, lots of available cash to maybe not so much. What's these first conversations look like these days when people are coming to you?
So that's a great question. We actually have to kind of dive into their books in a way. I asked for bank statements for the last 12 months, personal and business, and I start to look at their trends and transactions and where is the money coming in, when is it coming in. Some of the businesses are seasonal. I look at the length of time they've been open, and we can do 1 year self-employed, by the way, on our lending programs for primary and investment properties. So that's something that's pretty unique as well in the industry. But we have programs like profit and loss. So in that case, there's going to be a profit and loss that the borrower provides, and it's prepared by their accountant, and we can use that profit and loss for the last 12 months as income for the borrower. So they're not providing tax returns, they're not providing bank statements, they're just providing the profit and loss, and then bank statements would actually be provided only for down payment. It's not for income, but the profit and loss is used for income, and the rates are actually competitive,
Hmm.
surprisingly competitive. They're in the sixes. So this is a program that is extremely aggressive when it comes to this is primary and investment properties, and that's one of the things that we do when they don't have the books necessarily organized. They make money, but they
A lot of
want to
people
qualify
and
for a loan. Yeah, they don't show on their tax returns, and it's like I bridge the gap between okay, a gentleman that or a person that makes this amount of money, and I can find it and I can see how they make it versus and then bring them to the closing table. So it's closing that gap where if they walked into a traditional bank, the bank would say, "Sorry, we can't help you. We saw your tax returns,
right.
you wrote off your expenses, and you're left with the bottom line that's not enough to qualify." That's where we come in. We shine there because the profit and loss that we use is based on the revenue of the company. So it helps these individuals a lot to be able to use a profit and loss or bank statements. We use those as I mentioned. That shows after I review bank statements, if I see that's an avenue, we go that route and you can put 10% down and buy the property with bank statement income, either personal or business bank statements. And that's a great avenue as well for someone who just doesn't have the tax returns.
Now, if they're trying to get their financing set up, do they have to come with a property in mind so that that can be evaluated as well? Or is it they can come with an idea like, hey, I'd like to buy a single family, hey, I'd like to buy a duplex or a triplex, quadplex in this area, and that's sufficient.
Both are fine. I give them an idea. If they don't have a property address already, I do look at the property type and kind of a ballpark on when it comes to the purchase price. And then I work back from there. Like, this is how much your taxes should be, this is how much your insurance should be. And then I give them an estimate based on that. If they have a property, I can fine tune it better and I can give them an estimate that's going to be more accurate because then we know exactly the property type and we know the address and I can look at the taxes and I can work the numbers a little bit more accurate for them, but I can work with them either way.
Now, for investors who may be coming from a perspective of like a discovery call, right? And they're not exactly sure. And I'm imagining you get quite a number of these where, hey, I'm looking to make a real estate investment. I'm not really sure if I want to go short term rental, long term, where I'm going to be buying, if I want to go duplex, triplex, quadplex. How do those conversations, you know, matriculate into a closing when even the investor themselves may be unsure which direction they want to go in?
That's a great question. Well, what I do is I compare it with the trends that are currently happening with my other clients. So I give them examples. I said, well, I just closed a triplex in this area and it was a great investment opportunity. Here's the numbers. And I go over that with them, and then I say that's one option that I saw worked well for this particular investor. And then I say, well, there's also some other loans that just closed recently, and this is what they did. A little bit lower price point. This might be a duplex instead of a triplex. And I go into detail on that with them, and I say this is going to be your return on this investment versus the triplex is going to be a little bit more money, but this is going to be your return long term. And then I try
Wow.
to figure out if they're looking to buy where they live. And I say, "Well, do you want someone to manage the property? Are you going to manage the property? Do you want to, how big do you want to build your portfolio? And some people will say, well, my wife's pregnant. I want to get this one in, and then we're probably going to have a few more, kids down the road. And I want to focus on family. I don't want to be dealing with these properties, but I do want to have one or two now that I have a lump sum of money from whichever source, or they have, depending on what's going on in their life at the time. And I run with that. I say, okay, if you're going to do something that's going to be more short term, let's look at this. This area does Airbnb. This does, this one, this county does not allow it. This is another example of what I closed. And then let's look at long term. You're trying to build something for your family. You're trying to build a portfolio. Let's get one in you have your house where you live. Let's get one investment property done, and then everything that's going on in your personal life, let that, you go forward with that, and then you live your life, of course, and then we'll circle back so you can build on this portfolio. And I,
Yeah.
I kind of let them guide a little bit when it comes to the personal side, of course, to say, okay, what's your current situation and what's your goal? Like, why are you buying investment properties? And there's always a reason behind it. Or a primary. Why are you buying a primary? What's going on? Well, my family's growing. Oh, that's great. Congratulations. Have you thought about buying an investment property? I inject that at the right time in the conversation. My idea is to say, listen, I've seen real estate investing work for many people, and I'm going to tell you how it works and I'm going to give you ideas, but I'm going to let you kind of decide, fill in the blanks a little bit too. But I'll let you know what worked for other investors. I think that's my best, gauge and my best compass.
Yeah, I mean that consultative approach makes you very unique because people when they don't have someone to turn to would love to be able to go to their realtor, go to their lender, but typically the lender might say or the realtor might say I'm not an investment advisor, this isn't the niche that I'm in, but you're on both sides working with single family buyers looking for their homestead, working with investors even beyond a quadplex, so you really have a good dearth of knowledge. And when folks are making that decision, they can rely on the information that you're giving them based off past successful experiences. So here's what similar investors are buying, and here's what's been successful. That's a powerful testimony. We are coming up on time here, though, Brent. Any new projects that you're working on, and what's the best way for folks to reach out to you these days?
So right now we're just working on the customer spirit experience just to continue our 5-star rating. We want to make sure that the experience is the very best that it can be. And so we're working on a few additional automations, and we're always looking for new programs to help borrowers, such as down payment assistance. We are now fully approved with the Miami-Dade down payment assistance program. Gives up to $28,000 towards the purchase of a home. So we have the Florida bond as well. So a lot of a lot of things kind of at the same time, but a lot of it is automations, customer experience, and then down payment assistance, which kind of ties in with that customer experience. I can be found online at our website is www.floridahomefinance.mortgage. I'm on Instagram, your mortgage guy. So it's your underscore mortgage underscore guy. And we're on Facebook as well. And that's just the name of the company, Florida Home Finance. We're on there as well. And if you Google us, you'll find us very quickly, and you'll be able to look at our reviews. But if you just Google Florida Home Finance, uh, check out the website. Like I mentioned, you can apply very quickly on the website as well. Or you can just give me a call at 786-385-0511. And I'd love to chat with you and just find out more or less what you're looking to do and build a game plan. If now's not the time, then we'll get you set up to buy something in the future.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.